Hi, I'm Nate Bronner with the Virginia Cooperative Extension and the Master Gardener Program, and I'd like to welcome you back to my garden. One of the easy plants to grow in your garden that requires very little care are sweet potatoes. Now, a lot of people naturally think of potatoes when they want to garden, but actually for our area in the southeastern part of Virginia, sweet potatoes are a much better choice for us. They're more nutritious than potatoes, and they're more adapted to a hot, warm, and humid climate than are potatoes. Think of potatoes, they're normally grown in northern climates. Idaho potatoes, but sweet potatoes, which are related not to the potato, but to the, of all things, the morning glory, they're more suited for our environment. And so they're a lot easier to grow where we are. There are a whole bunch of different types of sweet potatoes. You can go to the supermarket and find not just yams and the typical orange sweet potatoes, but you can even find purple sweet potatoes and all sorts of different kinds. It's kind of fun to experiment with different ones, but all you have to do is go and get a sweet potato at the store, and you want to make sure it's an organic sweet potato. Why? Because most potatoes are treated by their growers with a hormone that keeps them from sprouting. You don't want any hormones like that on the potato, so you want to pick an organic potato. You cut that potato in half and you put it in a dish of water. I have right here some sweet potatoes that I did that with about 3 weeks ago, and you can see how much they sprout up. They send out all kinds of roots, and they're getting ready to take off and just grow. Each one of these can turn into its own plant. This sweet potato right here has purple flesh inside, which is kind of interesting and makes for an interesting meal. So I'm going to go ahead and plant that in here. After you've had that in that dish of water, and you just want to keep adding water as it needs it, it's going to grow out all of these little tendrils, and each one of these little plants growing up here is called a slip. Now, in order to get that slip off of here and get it into the garden, all you have to do is slice it off like this with a little paring knife. Take a little bit of that flesh with you and all of the roots that are associated with it, and you can see that beautiful purple flesh there on the inside. And I slice that off so I have some root structure with it and a little bit of the flesh of the potato. Then all I have to do is plant that in here, water it well, and it's going to take off. Now, you might notice that I'm not putting it in the ground, I'm putting it in a container. And there's a reason for that. If I put it into the ground, I'm going to have to dig it up at the end of the season. This is going to grow all the way up until the first frost in about November. So this is going to grow all throughout the summer. I might even get some really pretty blossoms off of it, similar to morning glory. But it's going to grow, it's going to mound out of here. But when it comes time to harvest this, if I've just grown it in a container, all I have to do is turn the container over and dump it out. I don't have to dig in the garden for the tomatoes, or for the potatoes and get them out of there. All I have to do is turn the pot over. It makes harvesting it a whole lot easier. You might notice that this is a rather large pot. There's only one plant in here. That's because if I plant more than one slip in this pot, I might get more potatoes, but they won't be as large. They'll be rather small and spindly. If I plant one plant in here, it's going to take advantage of all of this room in here and grow lots of sweet potatoes. I'll probably get maybe 3 pounds out of this one pot. If I plant another couple of pots, I'll have several pounds of sweet potatoes growing up right out there. But I've got a lot of extra room here. If you want to plant something else in the pot, you could do something like planting marigolds in here. I have marigolds that I grew in newspaper pots. If you watched my seed starting video, you'll know how much I like newspaper pots. And you can see all of these roots just coming out of this marigold and growing up. All I have to do is plant that over here in a corner, and it's not going to compete with the sweet potato for growing room. I don't want to plant tuber plants or root plants like carrots or turnips or beets in here, because those will compete with the sweet potato for growing space in here. I want to make sure that the pot is pretty big, at least 12 inches wide and tall, so those roots have enough space to spread out and then develop into those potatoes. A good companion plant to plant in here is dill. Now, I've been growing this dill for a while. Dill takes a little while to get started up, and all I have to do is put this in here as well, and I can have both marigolds and dill growing in here. Dill is a great companion plant for sweet potatoes, and the other reason why I like dill a lot is because dill is very good as a host plant for the eastern black swallowtail butterfly. So in addition to having a nice herb growing in here, I'll also have a host plant for butterflies, which means more butterflies in my yard. Why do I like marigolds? Not only do I like the flowers, but marigolds have a scent that, although most of us like it, mosquitoes really don't like it. So the more marigolds I plant in my yard, the fewer mosquitoes. I plant marigolds all over my yard, along with fragrant herbs like dill, like basil, like rosemary, and that helps keep down on the number of mosquitoes in my yard. So there you go, an easy way for you too to grow sweet potatoes at home. There's a couple of links at the end of this video that you can go to for more information at the Virginia Tech website, and one other one that I'm going to mention. And we'll be having some more videos soon. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And thanks for coming back to my garden.